5 things that I learned since I started the gym. Definitely do not compare yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy, and every people goes to the gym with different reasons. And when you see on social media or even just in a gym, it's just a snapshot of someone's life, and every person's genetic and their fitness goals are different. Learning from someone is absolutely wholesome by discussing the techniques, routines, things like that. But it is crucial for you to decide whether this should be taken into account or not, because it might be suitable for them, but it might not work out for you. I was consistently comparing myself to others way back in the day, and this has given me so much unnecessary stress and over prioritizing the gym apart from everything in my life. And now when I kind of look back, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Spending more than 3 hours in a gym, just doing 8 to 9 exercises, 4 sets each, just to look like sebum. But when I knew certain people are on gear, this is when I realized, why was I comparing instead of just embracing their looks and physique? And now when I realize, why was I comparing myself instead of just embracing their looks and physique? Now my mindset is more likely just to get to see how my body can go further before my first competition, instead of stressing why I didn't get the veins, why I cannot get this rep, or why I tried 100 reps and it did not work out. The second bit is do less, enjoy more. So what does that mean is, the Kardashians workout thingy, where they have like 100 different exercises, special workouts to get a nice beach look. Come on, people. We know building muscle isn't that easy, or else we get this whole planet of Hulks and She-Hulks. I began to push myself close to failure since, I believe, May 2023. And since then, all my limbs got jacked as I wanted to be. Extra bonus if my diet is on point as well. But let's just get back to the sets itself for now. I remember on my leg days, I was just trying to hit a particular rep and stop without knowing if I have actually went towards failure, because I was trying to self-educate with this whole failure thing through, I think it was just Google and YouTube. And after a dozen try and errors, I finally got to a point where I was starting to see some definitions in my quads and biceps, with only hitting them 1 to 2 times per week, depending on my program cycling, averaging out for 6 to 10 sets per week per muscle group, which was more than enough to build the hypertrophy, like building the muscle. And when it comes to exercises itself, if it is hypertrophy emphasized, I believe volume always comes last. We're not Mo Farah. We don't have the ability to keep going for a long duration. So instead we can look at the form, tempo, resting, the effort, the frequency first, adjusting them, and let the time do its work for 1 to 2 times per week. If it progressed, then bosh. If it doesn't, then we consider adding sets. And I believe there's no all or nothing approach. We as humans have bad and good days, and I believe that bad days does not ruin your gains. I believe that pacing does not apply to only people who have chronic pain and or injuries. I believe that it applies to everyone. If you do find yourself being chronically fatigued and unable to recover from those high intensity sets, try to pull yourself back by spreading the sets and exercises across the week instead of jamming in the same workout, or even considering if it is necessary to reduce the sets that you're currently working. Like for example, if you're time constrained, like you only got 30 minutes instead of an hour working, just go all out for one set. you'll still get 60% of the normal gains that you have as you're still stimulating the muscle fibers to work hard. Fourth thing that I learned since I started the gym was, I think is most important as well, that I wanted to touch on, is embracing your own look. The hard truth is building muscle will build fat eventually. You cannot stay lean for 24/7 and expect to maintain. You might be able to get away when you are a beginner, but to a certain point, you will need to step out of your comfort zone and do something that you are uncomfortable, but it's okay. And I think the society has spoken too much about how women should look nowadays. Like getting lean and shred is the society norm compared to being jacked or bulky. I spent 1.5 years restricting myself after my eating disorder and still unable to get out of my comfort zone. Even I had the support that I need way back in the day. Until now, I realized that in order to get to that level of physique that I would like to achieve, it is alright and absolutely no reason to be stressed and depressed in the way I look now. Sometimes, I admit, I still love the shredded me, the more striation version of me, but I accepted and embraced the fact of packing on some fat along the journey by really filling myself up. And by that, I am more happier and able to wiggle around my social events compared to how I was before, and that I'm able to have more energy to reflect and build healthy relationships with other people. The last but not least is, which comes to my last point, is to enjoy the diet. Because diet in Greek is called the way of life. It's not really called dieting. So eating should always be enjoyable and fun, even in bodybuilding. And way back in traditional bodybuilding prep, Arnold drank whole fat milk every single day during his prep, just to pack on as much muscle as he can during off season, where he enjoys whole fat milk and it works well for him. Like, there are just too many myths nowadays in building muscle. Like, stay on the same calorie range for 3, 5, 7 years, or eat this, not that, and then you'll look swole. But in fact, it does not. They speak this just because people need that fame and to keep them going. But building muscle is really not that difficult, and in fact, I would say is bread and butter. My advice is, a calorie calculator gives you a good insight of portion controls, but being on it to a precise counting level all the time is draining for normal population, and it shouldn't be like that. My advice is just eat anything you want with having a good portion of protein every meal. Eat until you're 80% full, which is also called intuitive eating, and gives time for its course to run. Then you can slowly build up your good eating habits and be more consistent on it. And these are my 5 things that I learned since I started in the gym.